On the 8th of July, we had our first mechanical keyboard meetup of the year for Sydney, Australia, and yes, this is a thing, and for those who haven't heard about these events, these are organised by members from the community, typically from the various forums which include the Mechanical Keyboard subreddit, Geek Hack and Dexterity. And meetups are a great time to get together to see and try everything mechanical keyboard related. You could be a beginner or veteran, you could have a $30 board or a $500 monster, and really you don't even need a keyboard, and you could be looking for the right keyboard or key switch for you. If you're interested in learning more about mechs, getting a feel of what different key switches are like, and just meeting people with similar interests, then these are awesome events to go to. The last meetup in Sydney was last year in September, which I also covered, so it has been quite the wait, but we were lucky enough for Don from the Board podcast to organise it for us. And there's just an absolute ton of keyboards to go through, so let's get started. I tried to get footage of all of them, but some may have left before I could check theirs out, and I can't verbally go through all of them, so my apologies. Alright, so to start off we have a split 65% keyboard with some blue and white keycaps. This is a great build using an acrylic sandwich case, so we have layers of cut acrylic stacked up to create what we see here. And if we turn it over, it's even more impressive as we look through the clear acrylic bottom, showing off all the hand wiring done up to the Pro Micro. Another split keyboard was this VEA 75% in green. I think everyone who was there could agree that this was one of the nicer boards there. It has GMK terminal on it, which really fit the colour scheme, and for that bit more edge there's some colourful escape keys. To add to that, he also had another 75% beast in the Duck Octagon V2, and these are custom keyboards from Korea that are highly sought after, and this has a nice set of JTK red on white keycaps with some bro caps. And this is a chunky keyboard made from solid aluminium carrying some heft, and the total cost of this guy would have probably been right up there. Everyone's favourite 30% boards were also present. We have this gherkin with Gateron yellows appropriately fitted with yellow keycaps, and then this monstrosity packed with artisans. This is probably one that would perplex a lot of people who aren't familiar with these, especially if you see the prices of some artisan keycaps on the market. At a similar size but just a bit bigger, we have this hand-wired build with a wooden mounting plate and plastic base. And this minivan with light cycle keycaps looks so good with the blue aluminium case, and is definitely one of the nicest 40% keyboards I've seen, and I'd say this was probably my favourite in terms of aesthetics at the meetup. Even though we're in Australia, there were only 2 Rama boards, which were the M10s, absolutely stunning pieces with hefty aluminium enclosures with keycaps to match. Moving on from the keyboards, we also had some other things going on. We had our soldering station table for people to try out some soldering, which was great to see. If you haven't got into soldering, then I highly recommend it. It's a great skill to learn and opens up a lot of opportunity to do various things in not only mechanical keyboards, but all things electronic. At the last meetup, there wasn't much of Topre, but fortunately the rubber cup goodness was here this time. We have this Real Force with 45-gram domes and were lubed and dental band silenced, and this one had a white and blue theme with blue mods and a Pexon coiled cable, and to finish it off a blue camo bro cap. Here was another 87U but in black with 55-gram domes, and it says it has a thermo spacebar, meaning that it'll change colour when you touch it. Unfortunately I didn't get it on camera, but another great keyboard. Then there's of course the HHKBs, which also house Topre key switches. This HHKB Pro 2 had SA Portland keycaps on them, and this was made possible by the JTK sliders, which replaced the stock ones to allow Cherry MX keycap compatibility. There were some artisans on there with a sweet spacebar, but most importantly one of the limited Sydney meetup keycaps designed by Outrage Pudding and produced by our sponsor ID23. Often an alternative to the HHKB is the Leopold FC660C, and this had a couple of sweet caps, and I really do like the look of those red blanks. And to round up the Topre boards, there were some Cooler Master Nova touches. This one was quite a funny one because of how much some people disliked the typing experience. This took rubber to the next level with the silicone gel keycaps, which are super soft, and then I think what was a plastic dip case. This Pad Silence Nova Touch took it the other way with an aftermarket aluminium case, which looked absolutely amazing. They had JTK sliders allowing them to chuck on their Sky Dolch keycaps with some other keycaps as well. We also had a sculpting table where some people tried out sculpting some keycaps, coming up with some pretty interesting stuff. "60% keyboards having the most parts available, being relatively cheap and very accessible, there was an abundance of these. First up is this Poker 3 with a delicious set of carbon SA keycaps, a very popular colorway paired with a trendy SA profile fits well, and an ARTISAN to match. I don't know what PCB this had, but it had a sandwich case with an acrylic diffuser middle, so it probably had some underglow if turned on, and this had some Signature Plastics DSA keycaps on top. This 60% board is quite similar to the one that I built. It's using the B-Fake PCB, so just a fake WINKEYLESS PCB, and also a Tex acrylic case like what I used. It also has a super clean set of JTK black on white keycaps over the 62g lubed and stickered Gateron clears, which I also did with my build but with ZEALIOs. This B-Fake had Gateron yellows with Silencios, so these are a smooth linear switch, and Silencios are clips that reduce the return and bottoming out sound. It made for a unique dampened feel and was probably pretty quiet, but I couldn't really tell since it was pretty noisy. The guy with easily the best handwriting ever at a meetup had a clean Infinity 60% with MX clears, topped up with the classic granite DSA keycaps. On top we have the good old ANPRO, great budget 60% if you're looking for one that's wireless and has RGB lighting, and these also come with Gateron key switches, which is great. I really did like these TaeKeyboards keycaps on this ANPRO with Gateron reds. I personally really dig that purple on grey colorway, and of course the famous Rama wave cap in purple to match. This hand-wired build has Gateron blacks and perhaps the most polarizing keycaps in the community with the ultra bright Miami set from KAILH. This 60% board had a bit of a different layout with the bottom right cluster, and this is an XD60 with Kailh brown box switches. I've been looking to get an XD75 board, and I was impressed with this different style of case with the bent steel plate and an acrylic piece underneath the PCB, and this does have underglow LEDs, so it'll glow when turned on. This custom 60% was, I think, the only one with a wooden case. It's paired with a GMK plum key set, which was nice to see in real life, and see this wrist rest that can be put on top to enclose the whole thing to carry around safely. And to finish off the 60% boards, in all its bezelness, we have the classic DUCKY Mini, often a somewhat forgotten DUCKY keyboard, especially with all the other 60% keyboards out there, but I still do love that bezel, giving it a unique look. There was also an impressive selection of Ergodox keyboards. First we have this Ergodox with a wooden case from Valbatech. He was testing out this new ARTISAN from the raffle, but it stood tall amongst the mix of DSA keycaps, solid amount of escape keys though. This Ergodox Infinity had lubed 62g Ergo clears with ENJOYPBT cherry profile keycaps, and as described it has some mean tinting going on. Truly a great build to look at from that acrylic case, flat color scheme, and that truly mad revealing tinting. Here's another Ergodox Infinity, this time much simpler with transparent clear keycaps which does match the acrylic case, but again great to look at with the transparency of the top layer and the keycaps giving it that unique look. This Ergodox was also tinted but with Kinesis keyboard lifters, which are supposed to be for the freestyle boards from Kinesis, but are smartly taken advantage of in this build. This one is an Ergodox Easy and uses these sweet tenting legs which allow for a large range of angles to work with, and it's finished off with some ARTISANs and a matching black and blue coiled cable. And then we have this ergonomic split called the Mitosis. This keyboard is wireless as well, creating a true ergonomic experience. It has a very intelligent build with the PCB plates and all, and just looks amazing in my opinion. The designer was actually present there as well, and I only have respect for people who take on these kinds of projects. Above 60% we have the 65% and higher. 65% keyboards are a very popular form factor, having a great balance between size and primary functionality for many users. This hand-wired build named Neutrino was topped with a variety of DSA keycaps with the base key stickered. It has a handmade wooden frame and an acrylic window on the bottom so we can see all the wonderful hand-wired internals. This red scarf, nicknamed Sashimi Salad, was an absolute stunner. First of all, a great aluminium keyboard, but it's made even more fun with the ENJOYPBT Japanese keycaps, and then fugu galore on the top row and along the side. Just a really great theme build. This acrylic sandwich clue board is rocking some blank DSA keycaps, which look to be the ones off AliExpress I think. Acrylic plates and cases provide a different feel and sound to the more usual steel and aluminium, and one day I do hope to build a clue board. Now this one was one of my favourites at the meetup in terms of feel. It's a Smart 68 which has a weighty aluminium case and is quite pretty in my opinion, but for me what I loved most about this was the KAILH bronze key switches. Described as a clicky linear switch because of the minimal tactility, but it still produced a loud click and it provided quite a unique typing experience. This is one of the nicest Magic Forces I've seen, fitted with a Japanese key set with matching artisans in the top right corner. A great colour scheme overall, giving off some chilled vibes with the subdued colours on white. Everyone in the community should know the White Fox by now, a super popular 65% keyboard with an aluminium case, and this had a carbon key set on top. I've checked out the Varmilo VA68MG before, which has a magnesium alloy case, but this one was the ceramic white edition with some rainbow keycaps. This Phantom TKL with 65g ZEALIOs was a unique build. I'm a great believer in this kind of layout where we don't have that wasted space above the arrow keys, so we still have the numpad there, which I assume is on another layer, and it looks like he still needs 8 more artisans though. These Japanese FILCO MAJESTOUCHes paired up perfectly in white. Both of these sported the Cherry MX Silent Red key switches, also known as pinks, and the TKL had all the Japanese legends on it with the JIS layout, and it's just a great combo. Now this was something that really impressed me. This is the Ajaz AK33, which is somewhat of a sentimental board for me because of what it's done for me, and this is a true budget board in its build and its price. And I had to talk to him later online, and he told me that he messed up a trace on the board in attempts on modding it and tried to fix it but failed, so he thought that since he had everything else here already, that it would be a great time to learn about firmware, matrices and hand wiring and such, so he just straight up hand wired the whole board, and it goes to show what you can learn by doing these things. And then he actually had a HHKB, which is like, I don't know, at least 5 times the price. And here's another example of a cheap keyboard looking good. This is the Drevogram R, which is like 30 something bucks, but with blank black keycaps and cleans it up big time. This guy had a bunch of vintage boards, which was really great to see. I'm far from knowledgeable in this area, but I had some fun trying them out. There was some Alps, some domes, buckling springs, but then beam spring. This thing was an absolute beast, as you can see. It had great keycaps, and the typing experience had a great, unique, really clicky feel and was super loud even in that environment. And just look at the enclosure on this thing. It could probably fit like half of the 60% boards there, and this wasn't for sale but apparently values for over $1,000. Other people also had all the boards there, with some IBMs and other Alps boards. There was a table that people could sell stuff at, including a bunch of gherkins like what we saw earlier, and there were some really nice custom keyboard sleeves with different prints, which you can see more of online. But of course we had our raffle. We had a ton of prizes generously provided by all our sponsors, and we split them up into 4 batches, so we had a raffle every hour, and that really helped keep the attendance strong all the way through. We had 9 actual keyboards to give away. We had keycaps and artisans, wrist rests, sleeves, and all the other possible accessories to give away. I can't individually go through all the prizes, but the custom stuff made specifically for the meetup were really great, with the custom keycaps from ID23 with the Sydney Meetup logo, as well as these custom Sydney Meetup PCBs made by Amtra 5 keyboards. And I'd just like to give a huge thanks to the sponsors that I reached out to, with Vortex, Mistel, IKBC and Tesoro, giving us some keyboards to give away, and congratulations to all the winners. Overall, it was a great success. There were a heap of keyboards and a really great turnout, so thanks to all who attended. We were able to give away a lot of cool stuff, so a massive thanks to all our sponsors. And last but not least, a massive thank you on behalf of everyone to Don from the Board podcast for his commitment and hard work with the help of his wife, with the venue, the bulk of the sponsors, the raffle, snacks, and all the other little bits over the 3 months of preparation. They have a YouTube channel as well on everything related to mechanical keyboards, so definitely check them out and give them some support. I also want to cover meetups better in the future with more interaction and involvement with people, so look forward to that, and apologies I couldn't do more of that this time. Finally, I know some weren't able to attend and some perhaps didn't know about it. Our friends at Perth actually also had a meetup on the same weekend. Fortunately, we should be having another one later in the year, which I hope to open up a bit more to first timers. There's also one coming up in Melbourne next month, and for everyone else around the world, there's constantly meetups happening, especially in the US. I'll put a link in the description that lists the upcoming events, so if you're keen to learn and try out different things, see what key switch might be for you, or perhaps get a friend into mechanical keyboards, then definitely attend the next one in your area.